Hello traders, good day to you all. My name is Christopher Glen and this is a daily market review for the current market status. Today it is the 9th of June 2015, and looking at the calendar that we've received today, as I mentioned yesterday, we're expecting to see low liquidity in the markets. On the other hand, I was mentioning the European assets as explaining the Swiss franc, the euro and the pound are expected to add a bit of weakness to their position as the situation with Greece is turning into a very, very difficult circumstance in the European frontier. We can say that the Australian dollar received several announcements, important announcements earlier this morning, a bit of lower than the expectation CPI report the Chinese market produced, and after that we've received a very clean market in terms of announcements. We can basically mention the announcement regarding the dollar or the Japanese yen later on, but beside that, nothing really important. We've said that Wednesday and Thursday we're expecting to see a very nice liquidity, and on Friday the PPR report and the prelim consumer sentiment on behalf of the dollar, the US market, are expected to deliver additional strength as well. Going back to the chart, just looking at the currencies in front of the Japanese yen, we can see major weakness on behalf of the pound, as I was explaining yesterday and expecting, and euro as well. Swiss franc is expressing weakness as well. We can see that this downtrend movement. It's practically the same as the euro and the pound. Beside mentioning that the pound, euro, and Swiss franc are pretty weak in the market, we can say that the dollar is weak as well. We will analyze the dollar index to see the potential over there, and we can also say that the gold is expected to express additional weakness, just not in front of the euro. We can trade the euro versus the gold versus the euro, expressing an uptrend potential over there. I will analyze the gold in a second as well. So generally we can say that the Australian dollar, the euro, the Canadian dollar, the pound, the Swiss franc, New Zealand, the dollar, and even the gold. No, the gold will leave it aside. All the currencies are expressing weakness in front of the Japanese yen, meaning that generally the market is stuck at the moment, expecting additional information from announcements. Two very important announcements are on the stake for today. The first one is the interest rate in the United States, whether they'll take it higher or stay as they do for the past several weeks. And the second one is what's going on with Greece, which affects the global market. We can see indices falling down, and additional weakness is expected on the chart as well. Going to the commodities, again, I'd like to pay attention to the gold. Gold broke on the daily chart. It broke the trend line of the right shoulder of the head and shoulder pattern. Looking at the hourly chart, we can see the corrective pattern. We can see that the corrective pattern reached a completion, meaning that we've received impulse movement dropping down and an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave climbing up. Our expectation is to see divergence on this area and to see the gold continuing its downtrend movement. That is my expectation out of this specific formation. I'm expecting to see the gold return into a downtrend movement, and there's a very nice potential to see the gold falling down below the last bottom was established at $1165 per an ounce. Moving forward to the gold in front of the euro, we can see that the uptrend over here, the pullback on behalf of the gold in front of the euro, is substantially larger, and again over here I do expect to see the gold continuing its downtrend movement, but we can see from this effect, the gold in front of the euro and the gold in front of the dollar, both charts are showing us that definitely the dollar is expressing very nice strength in front of the gold, while the euro is letting go very easily. I'd like to remind you that yesterday we've watched the euro and we saw that the euro is not among the weakest currencies, but today it's definitely one of the weakest currencies. And this change from being not the weakest currency into being one of the weakest currencies has taken the effect in front of the gold as well, seeing the gold climbing up in front of the euro. But on both areas, on both aspects, we do expect to see the gold continuing its downtrend movement. The silver, on the contrary, reached a corrective pattern over here and is expected to climb a bit higher. Not totally correlative to the gold, but for now I do see all assets, all charts, the gold in front of the euro and the dollar and even the silver dropping down even until the end of the day. The oil is still fluctuating around the same levels between the 59, 57 and the 60. Again, my expectation is to see the oil dropping down, and we will need to receive additional information for that, but still we can see that things are going on behalf of Russia in front of the Ukraine. We can see that problematic scenarios as occurred in the past are coming back, and there's a very nice potential to see this chart crashing down, crossing the last bottom was at 56. Dropping down below that will definitely allow the chart to fall down. As for traders, we'll see the potential to continue with this downtrend movement. Now, there's a lot of expectation in the market for additional weakness on behalf of the crude oil, and once we'll see the last bottom breaking the 56 level, then our expectation is to see the crude oil continuing its downtrend movement. Let's go over some long-term investments, something that I can suggest. First of all, the euro versus Japanese yen is an amazing potential for long-term investments. Why do I say that? Because we've received 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 waves of downtrend movement, and after that we've received an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave. Completion of a C wave is logically around this level, the current level. I'm talking about a daily chart, and even a weekly chart we can see this structure forming, and our expectation is to see this chart falling down toward the 717 euros per Japanese yen per 1 euro. Very nice downtrend expectation, approximately 20%. That will definitely delivers very nice potential, especially because of the small loss. If we will take the trade, and the loss is very small in terms of percentage toward the in front of the profit potential. So very nice, good potential on the euro versus Japanese yen to continue its downtrend movement, completing an A, B, and C pattern. Other areas that I can mention for long-term investments, looking for a trade right now, as I've mentioned, the euro versus Japanese yen. Let me just put that back on the daily chart. Let's look at other assets as well. Okay, nothing for now, but I said that I will analyze the dollar index, and in this case we've received very nice image of completion of a corrective pattern as well. We've received very long uptrend impulse movement, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave completed the structure over here, and from this point and beyond we've received the first impulse movement and the second wave corrective pattern. I do think that we've reached a completion of the structure over here, and we're expecting to see this chart climbing up, meaning that we're expecting to see additional strength on behalf of the dollar in the global markets. And let's explain that in terms of logic. Additional weakness on behalf of the European market that will affect additional weakness on behalf of the Asian market will cause the dollar to gain strength in the market. That is the expectation out of the announcements, and the chart is supporting this image as well. I'd like to wish you all the best with your trades. Have a pleasant day, and bye-bye.